All right, so we're here at the Alaska Sea Life Center, and it's beautiful looking out here on Resurrection Bay. It's a nice sunny day. It's summertime, and I do think though, being in Alaska, about climate change. It's one of the reasons I'm here, and I'm wondering, when people are talking in the media about climate change and global warming, how do you feel when you hear kind of what's in the news, whether it's positive or negative, whether it's about weather or politics? Kind of, how does that idea of climate change and global warming make you feel?
It's definitely a scary subject for me simply because I feel like I don't have enough information about it. I constantly feel like I have two different sides of the story. One says global warming, the other says global cooling, and I'm not really sure which side to lean towards or which information outlet to really believe. So it's definitely confusing personally for me, especially as a young person who doesn't always have the time to sit there and watch 2 hours of news per day. It's definitely confusing.
For me as a parent, it's troubling because I have two small children and I wonder what type of future is going to be there for them. We've been able to really benefit from seeing the gorgeous beauty of Alaska, as well as all the other types of locations in California and all the other places. And it feels as though that's going to be missing for this next generation. It feels as though even the every day is too hot, the other day is too cold. It feels as though things aren't quite what they should be or even what they used to be. So it's disappointing. It feels as though we need to act, and so I try to act every way in a small way. But I'm worried most about what's going to happen for the future for my little ones.
When I hear about climate change, I think I'm mostly just disappointed. I'm disappointed not just that it's happening or that we've caused it, but I'm disappointed because a lot of us are confused. A lot of us don't know whether it's happening or not. We don't know to believe that, but then we don't know what to do when we do hear about it. And so I think a lot of folks would like to help if they could, but they just don't know enough information. And how do you get that information when you're so busy, like you said? So. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm hearing, kind of all similar things, kind of confusion, a little bit of worry, some disappointment. These all tend to be kind of negative emotions. I know there's a lot of heavy emotions around the topic of climate. And to be very honest, we are going to see changes. Things are going to be very different from what we're used to them being. And part of change is often very troubling to people. And realistically, our lifestyle is going to have to change. Hopefully we'll be able to, retain a lot of things, but we've got about 7 billion people on the planet now, and they all want a particular lifestyle. So when you think about kind of everything that's going on and the fact that you might have to change the way you live because of what's happening with the planet, how does that idea of kind of being forced to change make you feel?
I look at it as a challenge. I currently have a hybrid. So we have a hybrid. We live in a one-story house. We have a tankless water heater. We use recyclable bags. I think that for my wife and I, we look at it as an opportunity to do our part in order to really try to be part of the solution. And so it's an opportunity. It's disappointing in many respects, but I think if we can all get there together and show by example, then we can start to bring other people along.
I agree that there are good aspects to the term change and that there are opportunities for us to go ahead and make a good difference and, for instance, start driving better cars, recycle more, just do small things like that, and that change is a challenge and a good one. But I also feel that some of the change is negative, and it frustrates me a bit because I want to be able to have kids of my own one day and be able to show them certain animals that hopefully won't be extinct in the future. I want to be able to take them to beaches without worrying about what the weather is going to be like and if that beach is too dirty to let them swim in it. So it's just some of the changes are good and some of them are definitely frustrating.
I agree. I think Bryant said it. I think it's an opportunity for us, and I think that's the way we're going to have to look at it. Otherwise, I think it's very disappointing. It's almost like we didn't do this, but we're stuck with it. But if we look at it as an opportunity for us to not only make changes that can make the world better and the future climate hopefully a little bit better, or at least us be able to adapt to it more, but it is our chance to make a mark on it. So we're the ones who said no and made the change. But yeah, it's going to be tough. I think it's going to be, we like being comfortable, and that's a challenge. Sometimes we're going to have to be uncomfortable to make those changes. But I agree with Brian. I think an opportunity is there, and if we can hopefully frame it that way, we can all see it as a positive change.
All right, now I'm going to push it a little bit. So Janelle, you're the youngest one of us here. Maybe not too much younger than I am. I'm in my mid-30s, so I think our other gents are a little bit older. But I'm going to push it by saying, being the youngest of us here, you're in college, you're, just becoming an adult, and you're looking at kind of the stuff that we and generations before us have done. And you're kind of stuck in a way. I mean, we're all stuck from previous generations, but being the youngest of us here, you're expressing frustration, and I completely understand that. I don't yet have kids. I do want to have kids. Do you ever place any blame on the generations that have come before you, and sort of, they were always trying to get the best life that they could, but what is your perspective about that?
That's a really good question. I try not to place blame. Sometimes it's a bit tempting because you look at certain lifestyles that people have led in the past, and it's really frustrating knowing that they weren't careful enough, that they didn't want to preserve, the beauty of this earth for those future generations. It's as if they didn't quite think of us as much. But I don't think that it would be right to place all of that blame on previous generations when I look at my own generation and I see that there's so much more that we could be doing that we're not. And it's like we don't care enough about our future generations to come. So I definitely don't think that all of the blame can be placed in one particular area, and I don't feel resentful. If anything, again, just frustrated that nothing was done in the past and nothing is still being done. I mean, some things are, but I definitely think that there's room for improvement.
So anybody want to kind of elaborate on Janelle's response, or kind of what you thought of the question I asked?
I thought it was a great question as well. I think it's really thought-provoking. We were at the Alaska Islands and Oceans Center, and I was made aware of some things that I didn't quite know, but in particular when the Japanese attacked Alaska and what the Allied had to do in order to prepare a landfill, and so an airstrip, better yet, and so the draining of an island in order to accommodate airplanes. And so I think for us, I think the generation before us didn't have all the information. And I think that they made choices they had to make based on the information they had provided. I think that we're privy to more information, so we should expect to make better choices. And I think the same would be said for the generation that follows us. So I don't blame them because they had to act quick enough to respond to what was happening. And I think that now we're able to be more reflective in our thought and really sort of be more aware as to what types of reactions will happen based on the decision that we make today. So hopefully we will make the right decision and actually act to move forward.
Again, I agree. I think Brian hit it right on the head. I think it's difficult to point your finger and say, oh, this is all your fault, when it kind of is. But that's okay, because again, you're right. We have, because of the advances we've made, we have a luxury in our lifestyle that other generations haven't, and that's that reflection time. That are the changes I'm making impactful, and how do they impact, when they may not have understood that. And so I think the big disappointment, will be the blame where we can really lay it is in the future. They can look back at us and say, you did know and you didn't. Yeah.
Wow, those are really great, thoughtful responses. Now, it's I've kind of made you search your souls a little bit, kind of ask the tough question, but I don't want to leave you kind of on a downer, because truthfully, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing. I don't think Jeff would be doing what he's doing if we didn't think that things could be better, and that we didn't think that there was hope for the future. And I absolutely believe that humanity has the ability, and it comes down to making a choice. It makes a choice to be different. Brian, it sounds like you've made a lot of personal choices in your own home. Janelle, it sounds like you're thinking about those choices. I know Jeff has made some similar choices as well. I personally have made some choices. And we're for people and we're making individual choices. And what it looks more and more to be is that if we can come together in communities and make community choices, that will be what pushes us forward to a positive future. So kind of just your last thoughts. I'm curious, what do you think you might be able to kind of activate in your community? What might be something you'd be willing to try or you think your community could do as a unit to kind of move forward and maybe make things a little bit better?
I'll start. I really feel proud about what we're doing here today. So we took, from Cal State San Bernardino, there were 20 of us that came to Alaska to do service all throughout different parts of Alaska. And so really working with our students she was a rising sophomore, and really introducing them to the beauties of the last frontier, as well as to the beauties of the city and ways in which we can support each other through service, through providing assistance, to providing our help. I think that's what it's really going to take, is to really start to build little champions to go out there and recruit more other people to be just like them, to go out there and start to build this community of people who are like-minded. And so I think that's what it takes. It's a challenge, but I think each one teach one, and then from there we'll be on the right path.
I completely agree with Bryant. I think that it's a matter of having really amazing programs like this and teaching individuals to make those choices and encouraging them to do so. That way they can go on and teach even more people. I know that just alone from this experience and all of the volunteer work that we've done, for instance, we helped build a house for Habitat for Humanity, and we volunteered at Beans Cafe. We fed some homeless people, and we helped prepare a meal. And I just really feel like going back home, we're all going to be thinking about that and telling our friends, hey, let's go find out what we can do here that will help our community in the same way that we helped those communities in Alaska. And I think that if we helped raise more awareness of preserving the natural beauty of all of this earth, that we could definitely build amazing programs like that and really raise awareness and build a really strong community that wants to make those choices, like you said.
Well, since I work at the Alaska Sea Life Center, I want to thank you and your groups for helping us out today. We've directly benefited from this. And I think one of the things that I would like to do is to continue to support groups like yours who want to do good works, but provide them an avenue to do it and the information to do it. I think there's a lot of people out there that want to help, that just don't know how to help. And so they might not have an organization like yours at your college or in their community, so maybe we can help kind of foster that environment of helping and stewardship. So, yeah.
Well, thank you both, all three of you, very much for helping us out today. As you walk away, I just want to leave you with a final thought. One of my favorite quotes is, "Be the change you want to see in the world," and you guys are already being part of that change. So thank you so much, and I hope you all have a great rest of your time here in Alaska.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.